Hello and welcome to the Marketing podcast, where this session is on how to make the leap to being a leader. So this one feels quite grown up, doesn't it, compared to some of the other ones that we've done, because we're talking about leadership. Which actually leadership kind of sounds lovely and polished, but it's often really quite messy. So today we're unpacking what it actually takes to kind of make that leap into becoming a leader, and not that kind of glossy version, the real version. And we've got Jen and Vic with us.
Hello.
Hello. So Jen is co-founder at The Pod, and Vic has held many senior marketing roles, particularly in the energy industry, recently working at British Gas Business and more recently Cala Gas. So really looking forward to getting all of your insights today.
Okay, let's start gently. What's one leadership role that you were told at some point early in your career that you thought, yep, that makes sense, and as you have progressed in your career, you're like, that really doesn't hold any weight for me at all? Jen?
So I think when you start out, you're obviously quite informed by the people around you, aren't you? And I think in those days, I thought the leader was meant to have all of the answers all of the time and should know everything and have all the answers and know what everyone's supposed to do. But I would say that's absolutely not true. And being a leader is actually about listening to the people around you and allowing everyone to play a part in the direction, and sure, about guiding, but actually just about listening to people. So I would say it was absolutely not around having all the answers, which is what I thought it was previously in the early days.
Yep, that makes total sense. And Vic?
And for me, I suppose it's a little bit different. So I remember not long after I'd first been promoted, and this was a long time ago, in one of my first roles, and they said, oh, so-and-so, I'd gone from like being a peer to being a manager. And they were like, oh, so-and-so's gone through that same experience, go and speak to them. And they were all about kind of how you should look and how you should dress and how you should write emails, which always stuck with me, that I thought was a bit strange. Mm-hmm. And actually we're like, oh, we don't need to be nice on emails. It's just like, Jen, ba 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 ba, Vic. Right. And I was like, oh. Where's all the like, the niceties, but actually who you are. Yeah. And it was almost like, I found that quite odd that was advice that I was being given. This was a long time ago. But yeah, so it's kind of stuff that's always stuck in my mind that I'm like, I'm not sure that is the best advice. But at the time you're like, okay, we'll go with it. See what happens.
You're quite a personable person, so that's actually saying don't be authentic. Don't be yourself.
100%, yeah. So yeah, that was one thing for me that I was like, I'm not sure about this. But then you see it, so people do obviously follow that advice.
Yeah, you take on behaviours, don't you? Yeah. When you're younger and in those kind of early roles.
Yeah. Fab. So,
thank you.
Vic, give us a brief tour of your leadership career so far. So where did it start? Was it deliberate, or was it something you just kind of fell or grew into?
Yeah, so I think early on, I think when I got promoted, it was very much you're like a manager and you're managing people and not necessarily leading people. And I think, so I kind of had senior roles at both Barclaycard and then at British Gas, and then had time out to have children, and then went through restructures and all that kind of stuff. And I came back from a second maternity leave following a restructure. I'd got a role, but I ended up doing like a senior role because that person was also on maternity leave. And I think the person that I worked for was like, it was come in, set up a new kind of team. So you had to bring like people in, find people to come and work for you, take those roles on. And then she came back from maternity leave, and they kind of said, oh, just stay on the leadership team. And I was like, okay. And then somebody else left, and I ended up then looking after kind of the BGB kind of marketing team. And then when you're kind of responsible for quite a lot of people, you're like, I can't have all the answers. I can't have all the decisions. I can't be telling everybody what to do. That you then naturally kind of go, no, actually, I need to lead. It's more into that leadership. Is that I'm going to lead these people and help them make the right decision and make the right choices. So I think that's when I kind of came into it and stumbled into it, I suppose. And then you just learn more about it, I think, as you get more experience, don't you? So I did that. And then again, when I moved over to the residential side and had like a decent sized team, again, it's just kind of leading that team, and also working at how you lead externally when you're leading projects, that you're working with people like that. So that's kind of where I've gone and ended up kind of naturally, I suppose, falling into it more than just doing it. But I think then learning is what you do with more experience you get as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
And Jen, for you?
So it feels like an awfully long time ago now, but so I started out on a grad scheme of Fujitsu, which I absolutely loved actually. It was quite a technical role and it was in B2B as well, so it started my love of all things B2B. So I loved being in that role and part of a graduate scheme, and the graduate scheme was kind of designed to put you into leadership roles at the end of it. But to be honest, I absolutely fell into it as well. So I kind of fell off the end of the scheme into this role, which I have to be honest, I didn't feel ready for at all. And the whole imposter syndrome thing was massive. And it was also quite male dominated as well. But I loved it, absolutely loved it, and had a fantastic time there. And then when I left, I went into a few different roles because I think we always felt it was the done thing to move every 3 years. Absolutely. Yeah. So I did that a bit. And then ended up at Empower, which I, again, absolutely loved, and where we met. And in that, when I went for that role, that was part of a recruitment program to put managers in around product development. And that's what I went into, which I'd kind of loved in my days at Fujitsu. So I think I definitely fell into it, but learnt so much along the way, absolutely. Seen amazing leaders and also not so great leaders, and I think
when you get that, you will probably learn more, seeing how not to behave. It's hard to resist adapting.
Especially when you're younger. Absolutely, when you're younger, it's quite difficult to sort of know, I'm not sure that's quite right. But taking that forwards, and then obviously left and set up the pod, which was, I'm not sure we lead particularly, but yeah, absolutely. I definitely fell into it. It was never a deliberate plan on my part, but I just loved roles and loved certain things about them, and then you would go for the next one and go for the next one.
Yep.
Okay. So something you just touched on when you were giving your answer then, looking back at those early years of your career, were there any female leaders, specifically who shaped you in terms of either what they did well or what you would steer away from?
So this is really interesting. When I went to Fujitsu on that grad scheme, and I was thinking about female leaders, and have done before as part of the One Network stuff that we do, I didn't have any at Fujitsu. They were all male, which is interesting now, reflecting on that. I've never really thought about that before, but they were all male, and some were amazing, absolutely amazing. But in terms of female leaders, it wasn't really until I got to a slightly later stage in my career that I started to see those really amazing female leaders, really empowering, really driven. They were kind of all had that in common, to be honest with you. And I was going to say Jodie. I honestly have to say Jodie has always been an inspiring leader to me. Absolutely, all of the creativity and drive and ambition and all of that is something that I kind of wanted to emulate as well. But I did also have some incredible female leaders at Empower. So Jude, if you're out there, hello. She was so passionate, clever, driven. She got things done, but took people with her. She was dead authentic and really got people bought into her way of thinking and kind of creating a journey. She was fantastic. And I had an amazing program manager as well, who was a lady called Kay, and I worked with her for years, delivering relentlessly against a product roadmap, which we absolutely loved, and I couldn't have done it without her. And again, she was so authentic, she was so honest about everything, but so driven and super smart and got things done. She really got things done, and I think it's those traits that I've kind of really admire, I suppose.
Yeah,
so,
and embody, I can see.
Yeah, I think I've worked for some remarkable women over the years. But one of them was when I think first when I was at British Gas, and she was just very down to earth, very authentic. And back then there was a lot of people who were suited and booted. I saw her in a suit once, and we were like, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" Because she was always just she was always smart but very casual at the same time.
Yeah.
She was really authentic back in the day when people weren't authentic leaders. No, but it wasn't what you talked about. and just a real champion of people, really kind of, again, authentic, took people on that journey with her, but really would like, you know, challenge you, push you, but in the right way, and also give you those opportunities. So I think I'd worked for her for probably like less than a year, and kind of she gave me my first kind of promotion when I was there. But again, it was, you know, she was really cheerleading people. Yeah. She also knew like everybody in her team, like really would know those people. And again, I think it goes back to, you know, being things that we talk about today. It's about being authentic. You know, you're a trusted leader. You understand people. She was a real like people person. She's now super duper senior at the National Trust. But yeah, so she's done amazing. But yeah, I do think back to actually when I worked for her and how great she was.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And you love them, don't you? You're like these amazing leaders. And that's what you try and embody
and emulate. I think that you're right. When I think back to female leaders from corporateville, it is that it's people that were vulnerable as well.
Yes.
Or if they'd had like a bad night's sleep, they'd shared with everyone, you know, I'm feeling a bit off today. Or,
absolutely.
But actually we're interested in you and cared. But would also lift you up as well, not try and
bring everyone
not
together.
Try and push you down.
Yes. Absolutely.
Yeah, super interesting.
But you've also seen the flip side of that.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
But I think when we first started out in our careers, going back to the 1900s, you know, actually you almost had to adapt to survive. There wasn't this authentic leadership, was there? So actually it was very male dominated. You had to be a manager, not a leader.
And be a certain way as well.
Yes.
Absolutely,
So it was like when that new breed came in, it kind of gave you permission to be yourself.
Yeah.
Which is obviously far better and nicer. Fab. Okay, so Jen, so marketing has changed an awful lot, and I feel old saying this, but back in the day, a lot of the things that we used to do was very much gut feel or instinct, and now it's all dashboards, data, automation, everything's measurable, which is wonderful.
Yep.
But we can't wing it anymore, Jen. You know, those days are gone.
I mean, I still do. But...
Secret. But do you feel like you're leading differently now compared to earlier in your career because of this?
Oh, that's so interesting. Am I leading differently now? No, I wouldn't say I'm leading differently. I'd say hopefully I'm the same person. I hope that I'm still open and I want people to give their ideas and be part of things, you know, create a voice for everyone. Is marketing different? Yes, massively. There is so much data. There's so much information. Like you say, you can measure everything. The whole world has changed, hasn't it, in terms of how you execute campaigns and marketing, and all of that's so different. The technology that sits behind it. And that creates a load of noise, absolutely loads of noise. And I think now it's all about us asking, what does that mean?
Yeah.
So you might take all the data, for example, and we have this with our own campaigns, you know, with pod campaigns, looking at all the data, that's brilliant, but what does that mean? So what? Tell me about that. What are we doing next with that? What does that mean? And it's about asking those questions, which probably is different because we didn't have all of that insight before, and that's an amazing thing. So slightly different in terms of what you're asking people to do and what you're asking them to look at. But leadership style, probably not, but the questions are probably different, if that makes any sense.
No, it does. It makes total sense. Vic, do you think tech actually makes leadership easier? Or is it just kind of the noise, like Jen says?
Yeah, because I don't think it changes how you are. I think in some tech, in terms of how you communicate, now everyone's at home, we've got Teams, we've got those kind of tools. It's almost trying to remember that you need to be like, not just like, hi, can you get me this? You're like, hi, how are you?
How are you?
Not just because you're so like thinking about things that you're like, oh, I need to get this.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of, you have to maybe, because if you were going to go and chat with someone and bump into them in the office, it's to go and ask them stuff. You would have a chat to start with. You wouldn't go straight in. Whereas on that, you've got different ways to communicate that you're like, oh no, I need to not go straight in. I need to remember.
That's really
so
funny.
I think
you always call me out for that on chats on Google Chat. I just go, and Jen will reply,
morning.
how are you?
I know, I find myself doing it, and afterwards I'm like, oh, hello, by the way. So I think that's what's changed. Not necessarily, like you're saying, how you lead. It's like those tools that are in place that actually you just need to think about things slightly differently.
I mean, it is amazing, isn't it? I mean, some of the insight now is unbelievable, and everything's changing. That conversation we had with Ray the other day about no clicks on ads. You know, the whole world's changing.
Yeah.
And we're learning all the time. So I think that's probably another one about actually adapting and learning all the time. Like we have to do that, don't we? Every day now, it's changing all the time. So being able to do that and ask questions and be willing to say, I don't know that, teach me, somebody who knows, Raven.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we've talked quite a lot about the world is changing, and one of the things we talked about is that traditionally leadership used to be very much suit and tie, a particular way of doing things and how you present yourself. And Vic, you had that lovely example about even people telling you that you needed to make your emails like management, leadership.
Rude,
you know,
I would say.
like kind of like
Just be rude.
like, yeah,
Just be rude to people.
just like, you know, you don't. The niceties are no longer required. So we are now working and living in a much more authentic era. But how do you apply professional veneer to that?
I don't know. I think I'm very much how I am is how I am, and that's how I've tried to be quite authentic. I think it's how you carry yourself. So you can be one way necessarily with your team, but when you're out, but I still think it's about being authentic about who you are, not necessarily having that different persona.
Yes.
I think you still need to, you know, treat people professionally, treat people as humans, which you've always done. But I do think there's that, it has changed. So yeah, in the energy industry, people were very much would look a certain way and do a certain thing. Although actually pre-COVID, British Gas changed it at one point and changed the policy, and it was very much they like a policy. And I think they had something called freedom wear, so you had the freedom to wear what you wanted.
Freedom wear.
But it's so interesting that
Yeah.
you
Oh my
have
God,
to
I
have
would
a
take that.
policy.
I'd go dress
And they
Lion.
always have to have a policy, but yeah, and I think it was to say to people, you can be free to how you wear as long as you're still. I
I
suppose
would
if
come
you're
as
going,
Mr. Blobby. I literally
I
would.
would. I'd go dressed as a lion for sure.
but I think obviously then if you're going to meet people or external clients or whatever, then you might look not like Mr. Blobby.
I think I'd fit right in.
And then again, that changed during COVID, didn't it? You know,
Yes.
people
Yeah,
like it's
sure.
very. I think that has changed a lot of things. You know, changing how even when we went to our London office, which used to be very, very corporate, you'd see people in there in senior management in like jeans and trainers, and you're like, oh, I can wear my jeans and trainers in here, can I? So
It's honestly like, oh, you are human.
yeah,
with a life.
exactly. Yeah, it's like, oh, I can do that. So I think to answer your question, I think you still have to conduct yourself in a professional way, but I think you're just allowed to be now much more authentic about how you are, how you look. You don't necessarily have to be looking a certain way to be conducting business.
Okay, thank you. And Jen, like same sort of question for you, but you have worked both corporate side, like and or supply side and agency side, in-house and agency. Would you say there are differences between the two?
Yes, definitely. Although I suppose that's changed, like you say, because since COVID, I think even, you know, the corporates have done away with the whole suited and booted thing. Culturally, I think because of the way we've built Pod, I think we've always had a freedom wear policy. I love that. I'm going to take that. Freedom wear.
That gives me permission to go even further.
I think we've always had a policy of people being themselves at work and coming in and whatever they're comfortable with. I think we adapt to clients. So if we have a very corporate client, we will respect that and go in a corporate dress.
Costume.
Yeah, absolutely. Which, you know, feels a little bit alien now because we don't do it so much. But
And shoes are so uncomfortable.
I used to wear heels every day.
Yeah.
I don't even understand how I did that. But yeah, so I think we adapt as an agency, but obviously to be respectful of the client and their working environment, so we will always kind of mirror what they're doing. But when we're in here, absolutely, I think it is different. But then culturally, that's what we wanted. We wanted people to come in and whatever they're comfortable in, it doesn't change how they do their job in any way, shape or form. So they can come in their jeans and trainers or whatever. But then I think a lot of places have adapted to that anyway, haven't they?
Yeah.
So it's different
We
now
used to
anyway.
give out, when we had new starters, it's something I think we should
Oh
resurrect.
yeah, we did.
We gave out a pair of slippers.
We did.
Yeah.
It was nice, that
That was nice.
Yeah.
I just forgot. Stopped it.
You've got the Pod hoodies as well, though.
We do have pod
a lot
hoodies.
of pod hoodies in circulation. Yes.
Vic, I'll hook you up.
We do.
They're very
They're
good.
nice, they're comfy.
Yeah.
Really comfy.
I think it's important what you said. It doesn't impact how you do your job, what you wear.
No.
And I think that's such an old school thing, isn't it? That like, because you don't dress a certain way, you're not going to be as good as doing what you do.
I think it breaks down the barrier.
Yeah.
I think it kind of, I'm human.
Yeah.
You know, this is
we're all
what I'm wearing.
human.
Yeah, exactly. I think it does kind of just take that edge off.
You know, the CEO of Centrica, I think he wears a suit when he needs to, but on a lot of town halls and things like that, he'd always have a hoodie on of some description. And I think that then kind of sets the tone as well.
Yeah. It doesn't change your respect for that individual because when they're presenting or saying whatever they're going to say, it's still like, wow, you know, it's about what they're saying, isn't it? You can say that in a hoodie.
Yeah.
They're a bit more accessible, aren't they?
Yeah.
Yes.
Accessible
It's
is the right
less
word.
intimidating.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Okay. So just jumping back to something we touched on a bit earlier, there's this kind of idea that you're either a nice leader or a high performance leader with the rude emails. And you can't really be both. Jen, you first. How do you balance being a genuinely empathetic leader with the reality that you've still got targets to hit? So it's kind of getting that, how much
Balance.
Yeah, kind of getting that balance right. How do you do that? Badly.
Right. Okay, badly. Yeah, really badly. I just shout at everyone all the time. I think that I don't think the two are mutually exclusive. Actually, I think you can be a commercial leader and an empathetic leader. Absolutely. High performing teams are happy teams, posters, high performing posters, and if you want to get the absolute best out of your team, which means commercial success, then you need to be an empathetic leader and understand where they're coming from and allow them to bring their whole self to work. And I really hope that we have the balance of that right, because yes, we all have commercial targets to hit. Of course we do, running a business, and that is obviously the driver behind it. But the way to get there is by having a high performing team.
Yep.
And high performance are happy people. So I think the two actually go hand in hand. And I don't think they're mutually exclusive at all. I think they just sit together. And actually, if you're not empathetic, you're not getting the best out of your people, and they're not going to perform.
I also think there's a lot of risk to business without having empathetic leaders. When I'm thinking of all the examples of like the huge financial crashes that we have seen, which have always been like led by very traditional, old school leaders demanding more than is appropriate, and everybody actually like trying to raise their game, but actually hiding a lot of stuff that's going on, and then it crashing down. I think that the authentic truth of the leadership means that you get that in your teams and the business is solid behind it.
Absolutely. It's robust, isn't it? Because people will always say if there's an issue or talk about things that need doing, bringing the best out in people all the time. And that's how you get high performing teams, I think.
Yeah.
Has that always been your experience?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say as well. Very similar. It's that you treat your team and your people how you want to be treated, and actually people are more likely to be committed to doing stuff and getting stuff done if they feel like they're being respected and they're being treated properly, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Because you know yourself that you have a great manager or a great leader, you actually want to be like
try
it's
super hard
to be really successful and do stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's understanding your people, it's trusting them. It's understanding what makes them tick, wants to make them, work harder, do stuff, so that you can get the best out of them. Because if you don't understand them, you don't trust them, you're not going to get the best.
Yeah.
You're not going to then be able to deliver what you need to do. And I do think, very much they go hand in hand. Yeah, for sure.
I think about who I've worked the hardest for, apart from you. Who have I worked the hardest for?
Is it because I dress up as Mr. Blobby?
Absolutely. It's the people I really respected, admired, loved, actually, and they were amazing, and I worked super hard for them. And then when it's less like that, you're a bit like...
Controversial. Do you feel the same agency side? I'd say the best relationships that we have are very similar with our clients as well.
Absolutely right. Absolutely. The clients that we can culturally fit with are the ones we get the best results with. Yeah. And that's really true. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and it's based on so many very honest conversations, even
Absolutely.
uncomfortable conversations.
Yeah.
But very honest conversations.
Absolutely. And then you have that kind of mutual respect on both sides, and that's when things really come together and they get the best out of us as an agency, and we can deliver them the best as a client.
Yep. Vic, some of the things you've been talking about, there is so much emotional heavy lifting in being a really effective leader. You talked about like bringing out the best in your team, knowing what's going on with them, the trust, the performance, the understanding what makes them tick. How do you manage that without burning out yourself?
I don't necessarily think that it's then your responsibility to fix everything. So it's understanding what makes them tick and what makes them happy, and then trying to support them with that rather than carrying all that weight, because that can be quite,
Have you ever been there where you've had that way?
I think when I've had people that haven't necessarily been in the best situations in themselves, that you're then trying to work out how you support them. You can't make everyone happy. You can't make everybody. You've got to understand what is going to work for them, rather than feeling that responsibility. You can, if they're having challenges at work, you can help them go and fix it and you can help them understand it and kind of work out how they can go and like fix it themselves, rather than giving them all the answers. But yeah, it is trying to get that balance. But I don't feel that I don't want to take on that burden of like, you can't be responsible for everybody.
You've done, is that because it feels like that's like a learning that you've been on where you've, because I am a fixer, and I have to sometimes just like say, do you want me to fix this? Or do you want to just vent at me?
Do you want to just talk about it?
And I think it's really hard.
Yeah, and I think I have done in the past where I'm trying to think, I don't know if I've got an example, but I have done in the past where you have been like, right, I'll tell you what to do and you go and do this or go and do that. But yeah, you can't. No. And actually now it's like, okay, do you just want to vent at me? Do you just want to tell me everything? And then I can say, these are some solutions. Or what do we want to do? But I do think people in the past that I suppose moan that they're not happy or they're not this. It's like, you can't fix that. It's like trying to understand how you can help them, what would make them happy. Would they be happy if they're going to do a slightly different role somewhere? And we can look at how you can help them grow and develop to something that they want to do. But yeah, I think it is a learning that you can't do everything. You can't solve everybody's kind of challenges. You just have to it's tricky though, because you're like, well, I'd just go and do this and fix it.
And I tell people, this is what you should do.
And sometimes you need to, because sometimes that's what they actually need.
Yeah.
Likewise, Jen, thinking of that emotional pressure of leadership, what's been your experience?
It's hard. I think it's hard. I think if you are an empathetic people person, you will automatically listen and take on some of these things. And yeah, genuinely, it's hard. Sometimes it's really difficult because lines are blurred. Sometimes, you do get a bit of burnout from it. And that is true. I'd be lying if I sat here and said that we've never felt that, because we have. But then that's hopefully, again, culturally and team-wise, what we engender. But I think you're absolutely right in saying you have to draw the lines between saying, what can I actually kind of help you with and what can I just listen to? Yeah. So if you want to just talk about that, that's absolutely fine. And, we're here to listen to that. But I can't do anything about it. If they're personal things, there's nothing I can do, but I can just listen and make some suggestions. But you do have to be careful sometimes, because we've all got stuff as well. Everybody's got stuff going on. You never know as well what's happening with other people. So I think you just have to be, just be yourself and be authentic about it. And yes, sometimes it is impactful. But you just have to draw a line and say, right, actually I need to put myself first for a bit, or I need to take a break from that situation. And that's one of the reasons we put mental health first aiders in as well, because sometimes these things need to be shared with other people that aren't, just us, for example. And having those individuals for people to talk to is amazing, because they're not related to that situation. They're qualified to do that. And that's really important as well, because I do think that people need somewhere to talk about things that are impacting them in the workplace, because it does. You know, if you've got stuff going on at home, of course it impacts you at work. And actually, if you have an understanding of that, that really helps that individual at work, because you know what's going on. You know, we've all done that. We've like, right, okay, I get why that person's just exploded in a meeting because X, Y, Z is happening, and that's massive. So having that understanding, and I wouldn't change that.
Mm-hmm. Thanks.
Oh, just jumping back to kind of the tech question, it's something you touched on, Jen, was kind of around how technology's moved on. Sad to say, we're no longer the experts in absolutely everything.
No.
Especially when it comes
ridiculous.
to Raven, as we've talked about. Raven is like our digital whiz, and she's just like...
She's just a queen.
She's a queen of all things digital, and it blows my mind listening to her. But there's kind of like that sense of control, because obviously, when we first started out in our careers, being a leader meant you knew everything, which is something, you are the person that has all the answers. Yeah. But then things move on, and as leaders, we've always recruited, our kind of policy has always been recruit people that are better than us, mostly to mask our own kind of shortcomings.
Smash that.
Massively. Yeah, all the awards we've won, nothing to do with this, Jen.
No.
But how easy has it been to let go of, you're not the expert anymore in everything, some things you are, but not in everything. How easy is it to let go of that control? Because I think we're doing that. It's kind of, you've got to have confidence to be willing to do that.
I'm delighted to let go of control. Absolutely delighted. Love that. I love having experts. I love having people that know more than you. I think that's, but we've, like you say, we've always said that, recruit the people that are better than yourselves. When you move to an agency from being in a corporate, you've got to let go of control, because you cannot make the decisions. They are the client's decision. Mm-hmm. All we can ever do is advise and make recommendations. So I think I learned that lesson when we moved, and that was tough, going from one side to the other and saying, actually, it's not my decision anymore. Can't do that. So letting go of control. But in terms of the having people that know more, I love that. I love that. You tell me everything you know about it. That's brilliant. I don't want to be the expert. I don't want that anymore. They do know so much more, and different levels of expertise across so many areas in marketing as well, which we can never know everything. We can't be the expert in all of it, so we need those people to be the experts.
Do you think that's a shift change though? So if I took you back, Vic, actually like 25 years?
Rude.
10 years. When you were in nursery.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a shift change because of like experience of like not being the person that knows everything? I think it has.
Yeah, I think when you first like manage a team or lead a team, you have gone from knowing everything before you get promoted to do that. So you have kind of gone from, oh, I know everything about this, I need to know everything. But then you get to a point where you can't know everything. Yeah. You can't possibly know everything there is, and you can't be good at everything. And I think that's acceptance, isn't it? I don't know if that comes with experience or age, but you're like, you're not going to be brilliant at everything. So let's get some people in that are brilliant.
Yeah.
And actually then they can be experts in that, like you said. Absolutely. You guys have done. And when I've recruited in, you get people in that are whizzes that know stuff, and you're like, well, I don't need to know the detail. In fact, I don't need to know the detail on anything. But just tell me what you know, and then you can get on with it. And I think that's fine now. Like when you go for, roles, when I went to Cala, like I don't know, there's a load of stuff, I suppose, in some of the digital space that, again, not an expert in, but there was people in the team that knew that inside out. And I was like, that's great. If you need me, I'm here to like steer you in the right direction, but like you're the expert.
Yeah, the expert.
And I don't know if there has been a shift. There's been a shift, obviously, with myself, and like you were saying, as you grow and change. And I think there has to be, like, the people at the top can't know everything. No. But they also need to trust their teams as well. And it's having a good balance of leaders above you that kind of don't need to know everything and can trust their people to lead as well.
Yeah. Because there's nothing worse than being micromanaged
No,
yourself and then
there's not.
trying to empower your own team.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll empower my team, but you need to know everything.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's better, isn't it? Like you said, you bring people in that are the experts.
Absolutely.
You just need to kind of steer that ship or that team to making sure we're delivering what we need to do, but we've got the right people in place to do that.
Yeah.
So,
One of my favourite things about being a leader, is unlocking the potential in those individuals and watching them fly.
Yeah.
Like that is,
yeah.
we get so much out of that, don't we? Just watching absolutely amazing individuals smash it. I love that. That's the best bit about being a leader, is watching that happen.
Oh, I love that.
Okay, so let's talk about imposter syndrome.
Heavy.
Yes. Okay. The thing that we all pretend that we don't have. Is it something that you think actually decreases as you become more experienced in your leadership role, or are you just better at managing the voice?
You come into me first.
I guess, let me put you on the spot, Vic. Yes.
It's fine. I've got two different views on this.
Okay. I will
you
come to you first and second then.
You may want to...
You're going to argue with yourself.
You may want to edit one of them out. We'll see. So I think, yes, I do think as you get older and more experienced, it disappears a bit. Is it imposter syndrome? Is it fear of the unknown? Is it nerves? Is it excitement? Because those fear and that excitement are quite similar kind of feelings, aren't they? And I think when you're asked to like speak at events or speak on like, I suppose, town halls as they were, which is obviously not the in-person bit, but on screen, it can still be nerve-wracking when you're quite younger. But then I've done it quite a lot now, so I'm a bit like, I'll be fine. As long as I know my first few lines of what I'm going to say, then the rest follows. Whereas if I'm like, if you forget or someone interrupts you, you're like, no, don't do that, because I had it in my mind. So I do think, with experience. But the flip of that, I'm like, is it a made up thing to kind of make women feel like they shouldn't be in those spaces? And the flip of that, I've written it down. So there was, it was on, you can go and watch it on YouTube. But it's a lady called Reshma Sajani. She did a speech at Smith's College in 2023. She's an American lawyer and an activist, but she likened imposter syndrome to bicycle face. Now, bicycle face, again, go and Google this.
I've never heard
this.
A fictitious ailment that women could possibly have in the 19th century. So women were like starting to go out on bikes. They had a bit of freedom, going out without men having to escort them. And to stop them going out on bikes and having this freedom, doctors came up with bicycle face, which was literally like, their face is all, I suppose if you imagine you're on a bike going up a hill.
Flow with the wind.
Yeah, flow with the wind, their eyes
Face is
popping
stuck.
out, they're hitching their skirts up, all these things that they shouldn't be doing. And they made up, you can go and Google it, it's a real thing. Called bicycle face, that they said women have got bicycle
As a
face
way to
control and stop them going out on their bikes, because we didn't want women to have freedom, we didn't want them to have
awful,
pockets in their dresses so they could carry those notes around between them. So there's also that and she likens imposter syndrome to that as actually, is it a made up thing that
designed to keep people
Because it is predominantly focused on
female,
yes,
that you feel like you're an imposter in a male environment.
Oh, that's so interesting.
So that's the flip of it that I do still get, that you do still get when you're going to do something.
Absolutely, all the time.
You're a bit nervous, but that's more nerves, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I think if you're going to do a new role or you get promoted or you're going to lead something, if you've got to go and speak to somebody about something, you do get a little bit. But I think that's a good thing because it gives you that bit of energy and that bit of buzz.
Yeah.
But so that's why I've got
That's
two
so
views on it. That
we should ask ourselves, shouldn't we, if we're feeling it, is this a real thing that I'm feeling? Is this, or is this
just a
because I'm in
label that I'm then kind of amplifying?
Yeah.
That's so interesting. Because there are stats that women won't apply for a
Yes,
job
the job
unless
they-
they're
yeah,
100%
absolutely.
qualified, whereas men do.
Yeah, men I think would like they 30%. And they'd be like, yeah, I can do that.
Absolutely.
Whereas women, it's like, I need
I can't
90%.
do all of that. Yeah, absolutely.
Again, is that something that we've been told?
Yes. And then we've just like accepted that's just what
you
we
should
do.
do.
Yeah.
I love the idea that you potentially reject imposter syndrome outright. I love that. And instead look at the room that you're stepping into and say, do I feel uncomfortable in this space because I don't look like the other people who are in this space traditionally?
Yeah.
And so the imposter element isn't anything to do with my ability or expertise. It's to do with the diversity within this room.
Yeah.
I wonder if
That's dead interesting, isn't it?
It's like it's a you problem.
Yeah, if people have that.
But that's what she says in this speech, is that it shouldn't be our problem as women. We shouldn't feel like imposters. It's more that that's what's being created.
Wow. I've got one last question. So, Jen, I'm going to come to you first on this one. So if someone is stepping into a leadership role for the first time tomorrow, what is the one thing that they should focus on in their first few months?
Oh, okay, great question.
Thank
I would say if you're going into a new role, into a leadership role, listen. Spend your first few weeks listening. Ask all the questions. Get to understand everything you can. Get all the data out. Listen to everyone. Ask about ideas, opinions, thoughts, all of that, because then you can start to make informed decisions and choices and talk to people and take them with you, rather than go in and think, right, I'm going to change everything, I'm going to do loads of things, then everyone goes, oh, you don't really understand. So I would say really, really listen and really engage with those people around you, because they know a lot more than you do at that point.
Yeah, it's quite easy to lose people if you don't.
Yeah, absolutely.
Fab. Vic?
Yeah, agree with that. And I think on top of that, it would be just really understand your team, get to know your team, get to know what they know, what they're experts in, what makes them tick, so that you can just understand how you can work better with them, how you can support them. So yeah, I definitely do that.
Fab.
Thank you. Thank you. This has been such an interesting conversation. I think it's clear from everything that we've covered that leadership, it's not a title. It's absolutely how you show up, and it evolves.
How you show up, that's exactly right.
Yeah. And it's not the glossy, kind of, oh, you're a leader now. It is never linear either.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
super insightful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.